Hey guys, how we doing? Lee Troy here. Welcome to the Man Cave. Today's a special day for me. I've got the flat to myself. And what better way to spend it than building a pedal board? Two reasons I'm doing this. Number one is the board itself. For the last couple of years I've been using a flat board. It's a Diego Showman. Great board, really good value for money, very durable, but I'm finding some limitations with the actual flat board design. Signal routing, ease of use, kicking the back pedals, general tidiness, all that stuff that we like to obsess over. Part two is the cabling. Given that I spent half my life advising people how to use their gear, get the most out of their gear, buy good cables, all that sort of stuff, my cabling situation is shit. I've gathered most of it over the last decade, and I've got some real nasty stuff in there that just of late's been giving me loads of problems. Noise, buzz, hum, you name it. So one choice for me, Evidence Audio screw-in solderless system, tiny cable, really easy to put together, low capacitance, reliable, durable, really highly recommended by some serious tone hounds. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me. If you guys have got any questions, feel free to give me a shout. I'll put all the links to my socials in the box below. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is get my power supply mounted to the board. Great feature of the PedalTrain stuff is that you can mount all your power underneath, keeping it out of harm's reach and also leaving more room on top of the board for your pedals. Power supply for me is the Voodoo Lab Pedal Power 2 Plus, industry standard now, isolated power supply, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. One thing I did need to pick up, which I've got here, is the mounting bracket. This is the PedalTrain PT VDL MK, specific for the Voodoo Lab. But there's another one available that's universal for other power supplies. It's basically just a couple of rack ears which we're going to fit using the grub screws that are already on the power supply. We're going to fit this to the power supply, and then that will just screw into the PedalTrain board like that. Does mean there's a little bit of drilling involved. I've got Mr. Makita here, which I'm not sure I'm qualified to use, but I'm going to give it a little go. I'm anal when it comes to this sort of stuff, so I've just marked up the middle point on the power supply and the midpoint on the pedal board there, just so I can make sure I get that nice and central, and all will be right with the world. I've just loosely fitted the brackets onto the side, put the grub screws back in. I would leave those just kind of finger tight for now, because you want to have a little bit of play in there when you're putting it on the board. I'm just going to line this up now, drill a couple of pilot holes, and then just get this fixed to the board. Wish me luck. Don't claim to be any good at DIY, but this is lightweight aluminium, and the drill went through this like a hot knife through butter, so super easy. In hindsight, probably not the best idea to have done this on the living room carpet. Going to be finding shards of aluminium in this rug for some time, I think. So maybe put something down just to protect the surface area if you want to, or just do it like me and go for it. You'll never know. Right. Let's get this screwed in. That is the power supply mounted. Next stage, Velcro. So included with the PedalTrain board, you get two big reels of Velcro, one hook and the other loop. I've just cut the loop side to length, 4 pieces to go on the board. I've decided to go loop on the board because this is kind of less sticky, and I don't want my socks, if I'm playing at home, to stick to the board. I don't want other bits and pieces sticking to it. And plus, all my pedals, which are coming off the old board, are already fitted with loop tape, so this makes sense. So we now have power supply fitted, Velcro fitted, next part, pedals. But before we do that, oh, pedal placement time. If you've used PedalBoardPlanner.com, you probably kind of already know your layout, but if not, just have a play around, make sure everything works right. I'll probably do a separate video on my thoughts on kind of pedal order, signal routing, and all that sort of stuff. It's probably too much content for this one. I want to kind of stay on topic. A top tip for you, if you're using a solderless kind of system like I am, or even a soldered one, you're going to have your jack sockets, your jack plugs loose at this stage. I find it handy to just load up all your pedals, put those in, so that when you're getting your placement right, you can make sure you're just not getting everything too close, you're leaving enough room for the cabling, but also that you're not putting everything too far apart, and you can maybe squeeze an extra pedal or something on your board. So I'm going to go around and just place these pedals on now. I'm not going to press down hard, obviously, because we've got Velcro in place. Oh, that's another thing, if you haven't Velcroed your pedals, just go around and do that now. Like I said, a lot of my pedals have come off my old board, so most of them have already got tape of some sort on there. There might be one or two like this one that I need to redo. Another top tip, make sure you leave your screws, because once this Velcro's on, it's not going to want to come off particularly easily. And if you ever want to take these pedal boards off and use them on other boards, or use them just on a battery or something, you might want to get access to the internal compartment. So there you go. So yeah, like I say, I'm just going to go and loosely kind of pop my pedals on here, following the kind of pre-planned layout that I designed on the website. You also want to make sure you're leaving enough room for the power inputs. I've seen people forget that. You leave enough room for the actual jacks and the signal part, but then you forget that you've got to get the DC barrel jacks in there as well. So just make sure. I'm trying to keep everything kind of within the external borders. I don't really want anything sticking out the ends, so that when I put it in the gig bag and whatnot, there's nothing there that can kind of get broken. Another thing that's handy, you'll see I'm using a couple of pedal risers. PedalTrain do actually make their own, but I've got a couple of hangovers from the Diego board. Just these kind of little aluminium brackets, super cheap to pick up, and really handy just to kind of accentuate a couple of pedals that may or may not, may otherwise get lost on your board, or that are particularly important. So for me, like this Tube Screamer, this is my main lead boost. It's a tiny pedal. I don't want it to get lost, or I don't want to accidentally kick other things when I'm, going for that solo, or coming out of that solo and need to suddenly be shut up and be quiet. You need to kick these things quick. So anyway, pedal risers. Now I'm actually going to get down to cutting some cable and getting these patch cables made. As I said at the top of the video, the Evidence audio system, about as best as I've come across. It's a solid core cable, nice thin cable, so you can cram loads on your pedal board. Loads of shielding, and the clever bit is the jack plugs themselves. They have a threaded tip to them, so you'll see when we make these. You can you expose the solid core, which you can just kind of see poking out there, and then you actually screw that in, so you know that core has got a really good connection with the tip of this jack before you even put the cap on. It's physically tight, so really reassuring that you've got a good quality connection and that you're not going to get any problems. It's not going to pull out. There's no solder to go dry or crack or anything like that. I'm going to use the board that we've obviously placed up behind me here just to measure out the cable. I always say keep your cabling to a sensible minimum. What I mean by that is we want to keep the signal path as short as possible, but we don't want to be stupid. We don't want to have the cables completely tight so you can't move a pedal, because you're going to get to that first gig, first rehearsal, whatever, and you're going to just find that the placement's just a little bit out. So I just thought I'd show you on a close-up here. Got our cable, got our jack plug. Want to strip off 10mm of just the exterior, and then you've got the copper layer, copper shielding. Fray that out, bunch it all up, give it a bit of a twist, and fold that down. Got the black layer here. Want to reveal the white layer, but you want to leave a couple of mil black at the bottom there, then you want to just a couple of mil ahead of that, you want to just try and reveal the interior solid copper core. Now you want to cut down the copper, because you don't need that much. Again, 3 or 4 mil will do it. Get your jack plug, push it in, and you can feel when it's in there. Then it's just 1 or 2 turns, and that is now locked. And it's just a case of bending it over, take your cap and screw it on like that. And there you go. That's the wiring done, as far as signal's concerned anyway. A couple of things I learned along the way: definitely invest in a good pair of snips. These are not, you need wire strippers to work with this evidence cabling. They turned into wire mashers halfway through. So I've just flipped the board over just so I can see clearly the outputs on the Voodoo lamp. I'm just going to take all the DC jack cables and run them through to the pedals. There's only a couple of things to note here, and that's on the pedal power. You've got a few different outputs. 7 and 8 have a variable sag control, variable voltage on them, and I like to run those going into my Octavia and my distortion, both analog pedals, and every now and again I like to just drop the voltage a little bit. It gives it a slightly softer sound. Outputs 5 and 6 are high current outputs, and they need to go to the Strymons. The Strymons are current juicy pedals, and the 100 milliamps you get out of the standard outputs won't do it. So they need to go up on these 250 milliamp outputs. And then the final 4 are just standard 9 volt DC 100 milliamps, and they can just go to any of the other ones. Right, that's everything plugged in. I'm now just going to use our good friends, the cable ties, to neaten everything up here. Underside done. I've just popped all of the excess cable with the expression pedal under another piece of Velcro there, just in case I ever want to pull that expression pedal off the board. I've got that extra cable. It comes hardwired with that, and it's not actually part of the signal chain. It's just going into the expression input on the Strymon, so not to worry about the excess cable there. This is quite cool. I had this little idea as I was building the board. Sometimes I go wireless, but it's not often. It's not all the time, should I say. So instead of wasting a pedal space on the top of the board, it really conveniently actually lines up just underneath the board. I've got the relay receiver there with its output jack just on the side here. I can very easily just run a small patch cable from here to here, which is the tuner input, first pedal in the chain, and also rather conveniently the back lines up really nicely, so I can just pop the power supply for the wireless in there. And there you go. Right then, here we go. Moment of truth. It's alive! Hey. This guy is my new best friend. Straight up, I want to apologise for the tired complexion. It's now Sunday. Since the pedalboard build on Thursday, I've done 3 full days of work, a very long, very late technical rehearsal with the band on Friday, and a long gig last night. So I'm running on about 8 hours sleep, 2 takeaway burgers, a wedding buffet, and anyway, good news. Blown away by the board. Couple of things instantly standing out at the rehearsal on Friday night. 1, noise floor. Way down. To the point where I plugged in and I was kidding myself, like, am I even on? Push the volume pedal down, check the volume control on the Strat. Yep, everything's there. Clang, loads of volume. Grab the strings. Silence. It's kind of eerie at first. And also that cliche of like lifting the blanket off your tone. It did happen. The top end opened up. There was more clarity, more presence. Everything felt more dynamic. It made the pedals sound better. It made everything sound richer and fuller. Things seemed to stack nicer. It was just like everything that they say about good cabling, it actually happened. Which, you know, you're probably saying, well, why would you do your pedal board up if you didn't expect that? And I did expect it to happen, but not to the degree that it did happen. I thought it would be a slight improvement, and I thought that some of the issues of crackling and buzzing and stuff might go away. To have an overall kind of tonal improvement as well as a low noise floor and no crackles and pops and all that sort of stuff. Part 2 is just the layout and the ergonomics of the board and the PedalTrain, making things convenient. The gig last night went really smoothly. Really happy with the layout of it. Didn't find any issues. Normally when you... Yeah, I thoroughly recommend you check out Evidence Audio, screw-in solderless if you need to upgrade your patch cables. PedalTrain, it's spoken for, we know it's good stuff. Probably a shout out for Voodoo Lab as well, because the Pedal Power 2 is running the show, keeping things nice and quiet. I am one very happy boy. I'm looking forward to using my pedal board a lot more. I want to say thank you for watching this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If you like what you've seen, then please stick around, give me a subscribe. I hope to post more content as frequently as I can. I'll put my links to social channels down below, so if you have any questions, you want to get in touch, just go ahead and do it. Until next time, thanks for watching.